I think we're live.
Oh, hello.
Hey, we are on location today.
We absolutely are. We decided you can't get much realer than actually witnessing and being in the place that we're going to be talking about.
Yes, we're going to be talking about pools, and we are with Melissa Coletti of Melissa for Homes, our colleague, our generous host here. And we're talking about what adds value
Exterior wise.
and what doesn't.
In both a valuation for an appraisal as well as desire for potential buyers.
Yeah, so sometimes we see that those two things are a little bit different. Appraisers don't always give the same credit that buyers do. By the way, I'm Ruth Sheehan.
And I'm Danielle Tully.
With eXp Realty, and that's Melissa Coletti over there with eXp Realty. Say hello, Melissa.
She's no longer taking, she's hiding.
Real, putting the real in real estate. So Danielle, typically, this is also a place where we can talk about how these things sometimes change.
Correct.
Because a year ago, January, February, I met with a homeowner who was going to sell. And I said, unfortunately, it looks like you have a lovely pool out there in the snow, but it's not going to give you any value because we have in Chicagoland this summer we've had about 120 days of 120
degrees,
heat.
Yes. And a whole bunch of humidity. Yes.
And I'm going to sneeze. But typically we have about a day and a half.
There are some summers that, it seems like you can use a pool more or less. So it is usually pretty decisive when buyers are out there.
They either love them or they don't.
Correct.
It's one way or another. And so whenever that happens, you have a smaller buyer pool because you have some people who absolutely hate it. It's a deal breaker. The people who love it usually also kind of have another alternative. So they can put one in or they can join the local pool. The people who hate it, taking it out is a hard thing to do.
Correct.
But last year when we finally went to list, it was summer. I think it was June. And what happened last year?
COVID, and everybody was stuck home. So everybody wanted a pool.
All the pools were closed. Her value on her pool skyrocketed.
We can't see anything by the way.
We're just like there's glare and both from my lack of tan and the sun. So her value skyrocketed. So that can happen short times.
And value as in the value a buyer sees in it.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of maintenance. It's enough when people want to buy a house. You can figure, there are people who want townhouses or who want HOAs that take care of outside maintenance because that's just a positive to them. So, you add another thing of maintenance and it's a whole nother thing to consider for these home buyers. So it is one of those things that it might be the best thing that you've ever put in your home. It's helped you keep the kids busy or you cool or whatever it is for a decade. But when it comes to going to sell it, it may or may not really affect it. Now, as far as valuations from appraisal, it's not going to get much, if anything. And that's actually the reality of most of the outdoor things. We've been kind of looking at appraisals lately and really paying attention to the valuations that appraisers are giving to anything. So a couple years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago at this point, we changed our contract. And one of the things that was added to the personal property or the property that's talking about conveying is hardscapes. And obviously we're starting to see a big trend in outdoor kitchens and big fireplaces and built-in
retaining walls with seating.
Correct. Yes. Grills being built in and things like that. And they're getting very expensive and awesome. But and again, a potential buyer could come out and be like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But when it comes to valuation from an appraiser, we're not seeing that type of credit given.
So we see something. So if you've got all grass versus some kind of entertaining space, you've got a deck or a patio or whatever. You
Pavers.
will get, pavers, stamped concrete, and then so you'll get something for that versus having nothing.
But I'm seeing like $1,000 to
It's
maybe
exactly
$1,500.
So it is, we're talking about something that costs, well, and trends come into play. So right now hardscapes are rock or concrete is more fashionable than wood. However, it used to be a lot more expensive. And just again, this year with a weird thing, you don't get more value just because 2x4s now cost $85.
Correct.
So you don't get more value because you spent $80,000 on your beautiful 2-tiered built-in grill deck. So you're going to get, maybe a couple $1,000s for it. If you go to the nth degree, maybe you get 2,500 instead of 15. It is still something sometimes buyers will absolutely fall in love with and want your house, but you need to know that you are not going to see that as a line item on an appraisal.
Correct.
Or even RCMA when we come to talk to you about it.
Right. And so it comes down to, okay, will it help you get, will it you sell faster? Possibly, but I would never ever, it's one of those things where it's highly, and as she said, trends change and personalities change and what people are looking for changes. So I would never install anything, especially in the backyard, for resale purposes. Absolutely 100% do it for the purposes of your own entertainment and your own preferences and your whatever you would like to experience, in is for your enjoyment. And
you'll get 100% of the value out of that.
Absolutely.
Let's just say we have so many people who are looking at the investment value and then denying themselves things that would make their life better.
Correct.
Because it's not going to contribute to future value of the house.
Correct.
So don't do that. I mean, within reason.
Yes, but yes, even like little add-ons.
I can't figure out which way to turn it to get us both in there. There we go.
I know. So we just we thought that would add a little bit a bit more information about what the expectations are from buyers and what the expectations can be for valuation. Because really, when it comes down to it, it really is the 4 walls, the outside, that count.
And I've got 2 more things while we're out here.
Okay, sorry.
So one is this lovely fence.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes.
So a fence can add a little bit of value, but it's not going to be much. That can be something that a buyer requires. But depending on the market, lots of buyers are willing to just take that on after they purchase.
Correct. But I do feel like that's more of a 1-to-1 value. I don't, again, well, when lumber is not costing as much as it is right now, I do feel like a $2,000 fence.
It doesn't cost a whole lot more, but you're not going to get, it doesn't elevate your house to a level beyond those around you to really make a difference.
Oh, no. It's not going to sell it faster than the house next to you if all things are considered, because that is, again, something that most people can go, okay, next summer we'll save up in the winter, and next summer we'll get the 15, we'll hook up to the other neighbor's fence and do what we need to do.
And then,
but it is desirable. It tends to be more desirable than undesirable.
Exactly. Most people prefer a fenced yard. And especially, one of the problems is if you have a bad fence, that can actually be a ding because the buyer looks at that as work. That's work and expense. We have to take that down. We have to replace it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually sometimes worse than not having one that a buyer doesn't have to take down. And then the other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shed.
Go shed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shed also. So that is, I think that's also kind of dollar for dollar. I'd almost guess. I mean, unless you're getting something super expensive.
Some of them are crazy expensive.
But again, like a $1,500.
Unless you're going to turn it into a pub shed.
Or what are those new things? The granny pods.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if it's a granny pod, then we're talking.
Take your grandmother with you when you move.
and air condition it. But yeah, so it's a standard shed is another thing that people appreciate. It's desirable. It is something that you can get a little bit of value in for an appraisal potentially, but it's again not something that should we put this up? Should we do this?
Right. You would not do that, in anticipation of selling to add value. Melissa's also got a cute little fire pit over here. So anything that kind of sells the fantasy of what it's going to be like to live in this house is going to appeal to buyers and help them envision themselves here and help them want to buy it. And that is oftentimes what, gets them to pull the trigger. When they do that faster, or when they're afraid that lots of buyers are going to see the same thing, then that's when we see that actually affect the price. It's like it goes the wrong way. But the other thing I wanted to mention is landscaping, especially in the front. So we do talk often about curb appeal. And the main thing about that is the first thing most buyers do after they see your house online is drive by it. So are they going to drive by and call one of us and say, I want to see this house? Or are they going to drive by and keep going
and hit the accelerator to get out as fast as possible? Never mind.
So you definitely want to do enough at least to make it attractive, look clean, look well maintained, because if you've got a weedy, overgrown garden kind of like mine, the buyers are going to wonder, what else you're not taking care of.
Back to that maintenance thing. They're trying to sell their house and they haven't pulled the weeds. Like, I don't want to spend my weekends pulling weeds and doing this. They want to be enjoying the backyard patio or the fire pit.
The fantasy of you don't have to do anything when you come here. You're not going to be mowing the lawn. Look, it just stays at this level.
Right.
So those are some of the things that people find confusing about adding value. And then, that's really kind of, there's no exact science to how it being appealing to buyers affects the price. It does. It will bring more money, but it's not the same as a line item on an appraisal where the appraiser is going to add value for it. They're going to give an overall number for condition compared to others, and all of that stuff goes in it. But you're not going to say, hey, I spent $6,000 on this and I'm getting $10,000 in return. Correct. So thanks for tuning in. Do we have anything else? Was it covered it all? Right?
Enjoy the day. Yes. We will be enjoying the pool that we just said. Some people appreciate. We appreciate today.
We appreciate people who have pools.
Yeah, that we don't have to maintain.
Thanks, Melissa.
So until next Friday.
See ya.